This week on CommandN, pirates in court, a nation of bloggers, and Jeff has some video tips from Halifax. Welcome to episode 168 of CommandN. I'm Amber.
I'm Will Pate.
And I wanted to announce that I did have a baby boy last week. Baby Connor is doing very well. He's healthy and happy, as is his mom and his dad, Chris, who's behind the camera.
I got to meet him today, and he's a handsome little devil.
He is very, very cute. For today's episode, we're shooting in front of a movie set which stars Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore. I don't know a lot more about the movie, but maybe they'll make an appearance, Will.
It's Liam Neeson, so I'm going to guess there's a sword fight somewhere.
That is very possible. All right, let's talk about the tech headlines of the week. We have a new promo from GoDaddy.com this week. Now you can easily secure your data and website transactions. Standard SSL certificates from GoDaddy.com are based on virtually unbreakable high-grade encryption. So all you have to do is use the promo code COMMANDSSL at checkout, yes, that's COMMANDSSL, to take advantage of GoDaddy's low price of just $12.99. Our first headline this week is about the Pirate Bay, which is the #1 file sharing site on the internet. Well, they're in court this week in Sweden because of copyright infringements. Now, so far today, I think half of the charges have been dropped. If you want to follow along with the story, you should definitely check out torrentfreak.com because they have a really great day-by-day post about what's happening with that lawsuit.
We'll see how this one goes.
It'll be interesting, Will. And I don't know what this next story is, Will, but IBM, you try to explain this to me, bulletproof vests.
It's kind of crazy. So IBM has invented a vest that it's kind of like a bulletproof vest, but it's more like a Matrix vest. You remember in the Matrix when they do all those kind of swervy things to dodge bullets?
I can do that.
Yeah, I know. I've seen her powers. It's true. Well, this vest that IBM has made essentially sends out like a pulse, much like a bat would send, and it's looking for like high-moving projectiles. So if you're wearing the vest and someone shoots at you, it makes you move out of the way of the bullet in time. It does calculations and then moves you out of the way, which sounds really cool in principle, but I'm also kind of wondering, like, wouldn't that like break your ribs, maybe snap your spine or something? So it's a really cool invention, but I would have to see it in action. Perhaps if IBM would like to give me a demo.
We'll demo it on the show, no problem. We'll just volunteer.
Yes.
Start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery.
For our next story, if you're an outer space fan, you definitely want to check out the Hubble You Decide contest. What you can do is you can decide where the Hubble Space Telescope is going to go and what it's going to view on its next trip. So all you have to do is go to the website and you pick any of the objects that are listed there. Now the contest closes March 1st, so you don't have a lot of time, but you can probably squeeze it in.
Cool.
It's very cool.
Can I pick straight into the sun?
You can do whatever you want. No, you have to pick one of the objects that are listed on the website.
Okay, I'll do that.
Now, Will, you have kind of a post-Valentine's Day story about love and iPhones.
Oh, it's a really sweet story. One of the graphic designers, or interface designers you might say, from LinkedIn, created an iPhone app to propose to his girlfriend. And the way it worked is, it sent her on this kind of little like journey around San Francisco where they live, and you know, each place she'd go, there'd be another clue, and it tracked it all on GPS. Then when she was done, it made, you know, the little like open bracket and then the 3 to make a heart. It made one of those, and at the last spot, he was waiting for her to propose to her. So I just thought that was a really sweet use of an iPhone app.
Will, I knew there was a romantic living inside you. Now, Will, for your last story, this is very useful, especially in this economy, to help people find jobs.
This story is by Guy Kawasaki, and it's 10 tips on how to find a job through LinkedIn, and they're great tips. It's all stuff that I've used before, so if you're looking for a real handy way to use LinkedIn to find a job, which is a great way to do it, check out.
Hi, I'm Jeff MacArthur, and welcome to this week's Tech Tips. I'm going to talk a bit about transcoding videos, and what this means is changing videos from one file format to another. The main reason you'd want to do this is that you have some device that will play files only in specific formats, and the video file you have is not in one of those formats. Since almost everyone's working with lossy video files, you have to keep in mind that every time you transcode a video file, it's going to lose a bit of quality, and there's no going back. So you may want to keep your source files that you transcode from just to have those in the archives if you ever want to transcode to another format. Now, there's a variety of free tools that you can use to transcode files. There's Handbrake on Mac, Virtual Dub on Windows, QuickTime Pro on both. Tons of Unix applications out there. Just do a search for video encoder or video transcoding or something like that. The first thing you need to decide on is what format you're going to be transcoding to, for example, an MP4 file, and then the video codec you'll use, like H.264. And I highly recommend H.264 because it gives you really good quality video at a bit smaller file size, and it's just a good, modern, efficient codec. So when you can use that, give it a try. It scales well. There's reasons why a lot of people are using it nowadays. Next, you want to choose the quality of your encode. So the software you use may have some presets for this, maybe based on specific types of hardware or just vague quality settings. But the key thing is bitrate. So higher bit rates are better, but higher bit rates give you bigger files. So that's the balancing factor there. Now, in Handbrake, for example, their setting for normal quality is 1500 kilobits per second, 2500 kilobits per second for Apple TV PS3 setting. Animation only has 1000 kilobits per second as its setting, which, if you remember, is because animation compresses very well because they've got large flat areas of solid colors, so you don't need higher bit rates for that. Next, you want to enable two-pass encoding. You'll get noticeably better results using two-pass encoding, and the file you're making is going to be forever. So I think it's really worth the extra time that two-pass encoding takes, because it does make a difference. So that's typically a little checkbox that you can set for that. Then you want to see if the video is interlaced. One way to do this is to pause on a frame of your video, especially where there's somebody like waving their hand or some motion, and then shuffle backwards and forwards a frame. If it's interlaced, you will see from frame to frame that it looks like every second line is kind of a frame behind, and that's because interlacing does every second field. And so if you notice that it's jagged along the edge of motion, then your file's likely interlaced. So make sure you check the deinterlace checkbox for that. Now, if your file is not interlaced, do not check deinterlace because you will lose some file quality in doing so. Finally, and optionally, you may want to look at the video output size. Normally, you just leave this as is, but it may be that you want to resize the video, say to get a smaller file size. You'll cut the dimensions in half, or limiting the resolution to a specific set of devices you're going to use. If you're only ever going to watch this file on your iPod, then there's no point in making a 720p video file. You may also want to crop out any black bars on the top and bottom or even on the sides. Frame rate and other settings, I normally leave as is unless you need to specifically accommodate some kind of criteria for your playback device. And keep in mind that you obviously can't transcode DRM protected video files. That's all for this week. Hope that helps you get your video files in the format you want. I'm Jeff MacArthur. Enjoy.
So now it's time for our windy web picks of the week. What do you have this week, Amber?
My web pick this week is a download called PDF Pen. Now, where this came in handy, my mom was asking me, she has a Mac, and she wanted to know how to take a PDF file that was on a government website that didn't allow you to actually fill out the form, so you couldn't edit anywhere on the document. I went on Twitter, I asked around, I said, hey, is there a good Mac download? And someone came back, and I think PDF Pen is probably the best one. Now, I want to mention that there is a free trial, but if you actually want to buy the software, it costs $50, which I think is very expensive.
You can mark up PDF documents like the new recovery stimulus plan.
Will is all about Obama today, let me just tell you.
Apparently they're signing it as we film right now, so that was my factoid of the day.
Right after your Christian Bale rant, yes, we love
it.
Now, Will, I really like this video that you're about to mention. Chris showed it to me a while ago, and tell us about it.
Yeah, so my web pick this week is a video called Iran, a Nation of Bloggers.
Half of Iran's 70 million people are under the age of 25.
It was done by some really great students at Vancouver Film School here in Canada, and it's a little video that kind of gives you some information about the demographics and how popular blogging is in Iran.
In 2005, there were over 700,000 blogs with about 100,000 actively maintained.
It's a country of a ton of people, 25 and younger, and lots of bloggers, and it's a whole side of the world we don't hear about except when you know, the leaders are yelling at each other. So if you want to know about the real story of this country, that's the place to get it.
Iranian blogs are the true voice of the next generation. They are nothing less than a revolution within the revolution.
All right, now remember, if you want to know the real story about the commandN team, you can go to commandN.tv and you can leave us a comment, and we'll do our best to make sure that we reply back in the comments, and we'll be back next week with another great show. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
I should do a Christian Bale-esque meltdown. You gonna move the camera when I'm about to do my scene?
You should totally do that. You should totally do that.
No, it's unprofessional. We're done. We're done here.
There's a bundle on the way. This baby thing is starting to grow. It's generation 2.0.